tomorrow. Today, we are going to finish up writing equations of lines. Today, we will do that from 2 points. We are going to then complete our ISN as far as we can up until the very last section that we'll be working on tomorrow. Tomorrow will be our last section, 3.5, and then we're also going to review for a quiz through 3.4, and that's happening on Thursday. Our chapter test will be Tuesday next week, okay? Our next major test, which is 100% or 100 points. All right, so again, quiz Thursday, quiz is back probably by Friday, if at all possible, and then test Tuesday, review Monday or Friday. We might start reviewing on Friday. All right, but anyway, today, 3.4 equations of lines through 2 points. After this lesson, you should be able to successfully write an equation in slope-intercept form from the given information. This is our formulas we will be using. It's at the top. I'll wait till this comes on. I just realized my student. Y2 minus Y1, X2 minus X1 on the bottom. Always make sure you're remembering to subtract your Y's on top. Then we use the point slope formula. So we'll pick one of the points to use. So write an equation of a line passing through the given point. First you find the slope, you pick a point and use the slope, pop it into the equation, the point slope formula, and then simplify into y equals mx plus b form. Our first example, oopsie daisy, accidentally opened one that's already written on, so let's get rid of that. Write an equation of a line containing each pair of points. Then state the slope and the y-intercept of each line. All right, this will be our x1, y1. This would be our x2, y2. First step is to find the slope. Subtracting your y's would give us 2 minus 0. Subtracting your x's would be negative 4 minus 0. Simplifying that would be 2 over negative 4. And that reduced is negative 1/2. Next, we plug in the y1 points. We got 0 for the y1. We put in 0 for the x1. We put in negative 1/2 for the slope. Next, we simplify, and we get y equals negative 1/2 times x. That is the equation of the line. Okay. Second one, we're going to find the slope of the line first. This is our x1, y1. This is our x2, y2. First step, subtract the y's. 6 minus 2. Second, subtract the x's. Negative 2 minus 6. This is our slope. 6 minus 2 is 4. Negative 2 minus 6 is negative 8. This reduces to negative 1/2. We got the same slope as the last problem. What would that mean about these lines? They would be parallel if we graph them. All right, pick the first point. We're putting it into the format y minus y1. This is called point slope form. X minus x1, and then we're simplifying. So if I put in 2 for y1, I'd have y minus 2. I put equals negative 1/2 for the m times x minus 6 for the x1. x1 is 6. I will simplify now by distributing the negative 1/2. Negative 1/2 times negative 6 would be positive 3. If you're kind of fraction phobic and you really don't like that, here's how you could type it in the calculator. We would type in negative 1 divided by 2 times negative 6. Wait for this to open. And that would look this way. Negative 1 divided by 2 times negative 6. So no excuses for not being able to do this. The calculator can help you. That came out to be positive 3, and that's what we wrote, plus 3. Next step, last thing to do is get y alone by adding 2 to both sides. So our final equation of this line is y equals negative 1/2 x plus 5. Okay. Now, something cool about the grapher, again, you could actually graph this on the calculator and check if it hits those points. And it would. All right, number 3. I would like you to try to go ahead of me if you're feeling pretty comfortable so far. And then make sure you check your slope before you write your equation. So go for it. How many of you are already ahead of me anyway? Okay, I thought so. I got several of you. All right, find your slope. If you're still needing some help and instruction, you can watch what I do. Remember that your slope formula be able to use it. Okay, first thing, make sure you've gotten your slope correct. Your slope should be positive 4/7. And you need to discuss that. If you didn't get that and you need help figuring out why, I would be happy to show you. Okay, I'm going to use the first point and put it into my point slope formula. Oh, I did something wrong. I used that one, and then I used that one. I can't use the different numbers out of different points. I have to use the same ones from the same point, so that's wrong. So what do I need to change if I want to use the easiest point, which is the first one? Yeah, this isn't right. It should be 0. Okay, now I've plugged it in correctly. Distribute that 4/7. Now, 4/7 times -7 is going to be negative minus 4. If you don't get that, then you certainly can type 4 divided by 7 times 7. And that would give you 4, and then you had to realize that it was minus 4 because it said -7. That's your answer. Okay. Has anyone already finished number 4? Okay. Go ahead and do number 4. Okay, your slope should have been 2/3 for number 4. Everybody's working on the problem. Distributing 2/3. What is 2/3 times 6? Yep, 3 goes into 6 twice. 2 times 2, this should be 4. Minus 4 there. Then you're going to add 1. Okay, our final answer for number 4 should be 2/3 x minus 3. How'd we do? Good. All right, how did I get minus 4? So I did 2/3 times -6. 2/3 times 6 is 4. So go ahead and use the calculator, guys. If that's not coming out well for you, you just type 2 divided by 3 times 6 and hit enter, and you get the 4. Everybody okay now? All right. Try 9 and 10. Is that the right number 9? What's your, I think I had a problem with that earlier. So what was the number here that you have on your paper? 3, 2? And what was this one? 2, 5? And is this wrong? Oh. What the heck? How did I get to number 9 all of a sudden? Oh, that's very strange. Is this your number? I opened up a really old smart. What is your number? Are you in 5? I mean, okay, is your 5 1, 2, and 1, 5? It's 3, 2, and okay. Go ahead and do it, and I'll find the right thing. Heck if I know what happened just now. I don't get it. I just wonder if I even ran off the wrong or the different worksheet. I just used this early today. These are the right ones. Oh my gosh. Got -3 for your slope? Okay, keep going. I hope some of you are finding these a little easier now and they're kind of like, okay, just do it. Getting used to what you're plugging in and should be done now. 5 is negative, y equals -3x plus 11. Okay, do number 6. Okay, do y equals -3x plus 9. Need to find a mistake up here somewhere. On your, if you have a mistake, this is the correct answer. If you didn't get that, what did we do wrong? Maybe it's the slope. Is anybody's slope upside down? Does anybody have 1/3 or -1/3? Make sure you're doing the y's on top. Yes. No, it has to be simplified. Because obviously that divides, right? So you definitely, no, you must reduce your fractions or you must reduce your slopes. So it would be points off if it wasn't reduced. Bless you. So I'm glad you asked. Okay, 7 has yuck on it. And it's just because there's some fractions, that one of the F words in math. Yes. Yep. So the slope is 1/9. I plugged in the first point, and then I got to do this distribution of a 1/9. How gross. So that'd be -5/9. But, you know, we got these calculators, so why couldn't we just type -5 divided by 9 plus 2 and then make it back into a fraction? So I can show you how to do that without the calculator. If you think about it as a fraction, and we should learn to deal with fractions, you can write 2 as 2 over 1. You would need a common denominator of 9, so you'd multiply top and bottom by 9. That would give you -5/9 plus 18/9. -5 plus 18 is 13. So it'd be plus 13/9. Now here's how the calculator can do it. You just take -5/9. I always want to close this because my memory's getting low on my computer. You're going to type -5 divided by 9. And you can then hit +2. And you'll get a decimal, but you can go to the math button and then hit enter twice. And it'll change it back to an improper fraction, 13/9. So I'll actually do that for you. Okay, number 8. How many of you did 8 already? All right, what happened? Where you get 0? On the bottom. Now, you get 6 over 0, but you can't divide by 0. So the slope is called undefined or no slope, okay? Because division by 0 is undefined. Now, what kind of line is it? You can't write it in y equals form. It's vertical because if you go to 5, -4, and 5, 2, and draw a line, that's what you get. Okay, so that's the line x equals 5. That's its equation. It's a vertical line. All right, number 9 and 10, go for it. Okay, you should have -1 for the slope of number 9. Any problems with your slope? Okay, should have y plus 2, let's see, -1x plus 1. We'll need to subtract 2 from both sides. Our answer should be for number 9, -1x minus 1. And if you just wrote y equals -x minus 1, that's correct. Any problems with 9? Okay, tell me where, hun. Like a sign error, maybe? Where? Okay, so did you have this for your subtraction? Right here? And you even had -2 over 2? Oh boy, one of those careless boo-boos, right? Okay, who's still working on 10? Okay, I just wanted to wait, everybody have a chance to try it. We'll double check your slope before you go on. I got 8 for my slope. 8 over 1. Okay, you can check 10 now when you're done. Now, hopefully you've been doing pretty well today. We're going to open up, get your ISNs opened up to page 5, please. And the rest of the period, we are filling that in. Get our notes done up to the last section, or as far as we can go, till we have time to leave. Don't need that anyway. All right. We left off in our ISN, actually on page 6, wasn't it? I think our page 5's all filled up. All right, good. Didn't we already write on this too? And we did examples of slopes between 2 points, correct? All right, then we went and we stopped right there. Okay. So what we need to do is talk about parallel lines and perpendicular lines. Parallel lines, we have slopes that are equal. Okay, they have the same slope. Some examples of slopes that would be the same, 3 and -3. No, that makes no sense, Heimer. -3 and -3. Okay, so they're same numbers. They're the same slope, 1/2 and 1/2. Okay, now the other way to look at it is say you saw an equation. Did you guys write over here some from the last thing we did? You got plenty of space all here? Oh, perfect. All right, so what if I saw an equation that said y equals -2x plus 5, and another equation said y equals -2x minus 7. These have the same slope number because they're in y equals mx plus b form. Since those match, they would be parallel lines. Okay, their graphs would be graphs of parallel lines. Now, sometimes it's not so obvious. So let's first say that we had an equation that said y equals, let's say 1/2 x plus 1. And then you had this other equation and it said 2y equals x minus 4. Well, are these parallel? Well, I'm going to tell you that the answer is yes, they are. And that's because you need to solve the second one for y. And what would you need to do so? You'd have to divide by 2. So this equation would be simplified by dividing by 2 and would give you y equals 1/2 x minus 2. Okay, so you would divide by 2, and that would produce that equation right there. All right, and now you can see that the slopes are actually the same. All right, so sometimes you got to figure it out if they're actually parallel or not by their equation. You understand how I got the 1/2? I divided by 2 every piece, and that would come out to this equation. All right, now, over here, I'm going to go ahead and highlight the slopes over on the picture. We're looking at that number and that number being the same. All right, and the pictures of the lines, you can tell they're sloping the same. All right, perpendicular lines have slopes that are opposite sign, and they are reciprocals. Another way you've heard that stated is they are called negative reciprocals. And then I have my way of saying it I call them refliprocals. What does that remind you of? The flipping. Okay, negative refliprocals or opposite refliprocals. So examples of that, if you had 1/2, And now another slope would need to be, okay, again, this is about slopes, just like these were slopes. 1/2 and -2. Okay, you had -7/3, and then you'd flip it and change the sign to be +7/3. Yeah, what did I say? I said 3/7. I wrote it right, but I said it wrong. Excuse me. Thank you. And what about 0.1? And what would be the reciprocal and the opposite sign? It would be -10. Okay, so sometimes if you have a situation where they give you a decimal, you might have to say, wait a minute, what's that as a fraction? Okay, 0.1 is 1/10. Okay, you see why that would be 1/10 and -10. All right, so then also you could see it in equation form. So let me grab, oh, my pen's going wild. All right, equation. So say it was y equals -3x minus 2. The other equation might say y equals, and it'd have to be 1/3 x and then something. Or it could be nothing added on. You don't even have to have something added on. So these, you were looking again at the slopes and seeing if they are negative reciprocals or negative reciprocals of one another. Another example, y equals, say I had 2x minus 4, and then I went and said, well, what if I had this equation? 2y equals 4x minus, oops, I want to change that, I'm going to put plus 10. Okay, what would you have to do to be able to tell? This again would be to divide by 2. And so if you divided by 2, you would get the new equation, y equals 2x plus 5. Uh-oh. What did I do? Those would be parallel, wouldn't they? Okay, so here, you know which one's going to be the easiest first to fix? I did a boo-boo. I'm going to change the first one to say 1/2, okay? And it need to be negative. But I'm going to put a -1/2 here. Okay, now if I have this equation, now if I divide it by 2, it would be y equals 2x plus 5. -1/2 and 2 are negative reciprocals. Okay. All right, so those are good examples for your tests on Tuesday and for your quiz on Thursday. Does anybody still need this page? Okay then, on page 7. You need to turn the page. All right, determine whether line A, B, and line C, D are parallel, perpendicular, or neither. And then we go and have no letters that have A's and B's or C's and D's in them. Sorry, guys, but you see my point? Okay, determine whether they're parallel, perpendicular. It's really actually MN and RS. I don't know how that got there. Point being, we need to find the slope of line MN. Remember, you take your X's and Y's, and if you want to label them with the 1s and the 2s, what's the G's, then we're going to subtract 4 minus 3. On the bottom, 4 minus -1. X is on the bottom. 4 minus 3 is 1. 4 minus -1 is 5. Okay, so the slope of the line through M and N would be 1/5. Bless you. Points R and S. Take my Y's, 2 minus 1, over my X's, -2 minus 3. Get my slope, which would be 1 over -5. Well, Guys, 1/5 and negative 1/5, they're just opposite signs. They're not the same. One's uphill, one's downhill. So these slopes are neither parallel, they're neither parallel nor perpendicular. That's the neither kind. Why? Well, the slopes, I'm going to explain. You're going to have to say why. Okay, so slopes are not equal. And not negative reciprocals. They're neither one. You got to say they're not equal and they're not negative reciprocals when it's neither. Okay, so next, find the slope of MN, -7 minus -3. Subtract the x's, -2 minus 0. -7 minus -3 is -7 plus 3, which is -4. -2 minus 0 is -2. -4 divided by -2 is +2. You've got to finish it and simplify it. Okay. Next, the slope of line through R and S. Start with your y's. -3 minus 1 over. Subtract your x's. 0 minus 2. I'm just constantly going from the second point back to the first. Staying consistent. That gives me -4 over -2 again, which is 2. These lines would be parallel. Yep. Oops, I forgot an A. Parallel. And that's because they have same slopes or equal slopes. Okay. Slopes are the same. Anybody still need this before we go to the next part? Okay. All right, so now we're going to graph some lines that satisfy the condition given. Slope of 3. If m is 3, that means 3 over 1, which means to go up 3 and right 1. You start at the point A, which is at 0, 1. Now, 0, 1 is 0 right or left from the origin and up 1. So it's actually a y-intercept. It's on the y-axis. So I start there and I do my slope. I go up 1, 2, 3, right 1. And then I have to have 3 accurate points. That's what it's going to say on the quiz. So I have to go backwards. Up 3, right 1, reverses 2, down 1, 2, 3, left 1. And you can do that twice. So actually I have 4 points here. Whoops, I'm supposed to try to hit them. Oh my. We'll give you some straight edges so yours look better than mine. Okay, next one. We're going to go to the point R at -4, left 4, up 5. The slope of -3 halves means to go down 3, right 2. Do not double negative it. Always do the bottom number as a right, okay? Top number is up or down. Bottom number is right, period, until you go in reverse. So from my R point, I'm going to go down 1, 2, 3, right 2, down 1, 2, 3, right 2, and keep doing it. And then stop when I can't make any more. Draw a line through there. Oops, put some arrows on it. Just missed my last one, dang it. Okay, slope was a negative. It should go downhill. Number 3. We're going to hit the point Y at 3, 0. 3, 0 is right 3, so it's an x-intercept actually, right on the x-axis, and that's point y. I want it to be parallel to a line whose slope is -2, which means it would have a slope of -2 also. -2 over 1 means down 2, right 1. So from y, down 2, right 1, down 2, right 1, and reversing, up 2, left 1, up 2, left 1. Okay, next one. Point P is at 0, -2. That is on y-intercept. Perpendicular to line CX, who has a slope of 3. The perpendicular line would have a slope that is not 3, but opposite and flip it. -1/3. -1/3 means go down 1, right 3. So from there, point P, down 1, 1, 2, 3, or up 1, left 1, 2, 3. That's all I can make. All right, that was through page, you help me out with that, 7. We haven't even got 8 yet, right? We're going to get some of this because it's options for writing equations of lines. Is this the page you have next? Okay. Really? 4 options. All right. Our 4 options. One is, this is our point slope form. You're going to want to know what that means. And our y equals mx plus b, which is slope intercept. Okay, want to know those the words. Given the slope and the y-intercept, use slope-intercept form, which is, of course, y equals m times x plus b form. You pop in the slope number of 1/2 for m, and you pop in the y-intercept, which is your b. That's your m and your b, so you write +6. Boom, done with the equation. Anybody need this still? Okay, since no one said anything, we are ready for the second option. Point slope form. Point slope form is y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. You plug in an ordered pair for x1 and y1, you find the slope, and you plug that in. This says it has a slope of 1/2, so m is 1/2. You have a point 4, x1 is 4, and y1 is -5. So we put those in the equation. Y minus -5 equals 1/2 parentheses x minus 4. We are working on that today. Simplify it to y plus 5 equals 1 times half. 1 times half, what the heck's that? 1/2 times x, 1/2 x minus half of 4 would be 2. You finish the problem by subtracting 5 from both sides to get y isolated. You get y equals 1/2 times x minus 7, and that would be your final answer in slope-intercept form. What? Okay. This is now in slope-intercept form. Okay, this is called point slope form, and that's what you use to get it. Then you work it out to slope-intercept form. Okay, the third one, this won't take me too long. Find the slope between the points by counting the rise over run. I hate that. That's the change in y over the change in x. line where it crosses the x-axis, the y-axis. So this right here is your b value. It would be -3. And your slope is up 1, right 1. You're just counting this. M is 1/1, which is 1. Then you write the equation, y equals mx, 1 times x, minus 3. Okay, we shall finish this off tomorrow. This is the one we practiced today. We'll finish our ISN mañana since it's time to go.